This podcast is protected under the laws of the United States and other countries. Unauthorized duplication, distribution, or exhibition may result in civil liability, criminal prosecution, and the wrath of the tall man.
Boy!
In January, a message from an extraterrestrial source was picked up at the Parkes Observatory in Australia. A new sequence of DNA, friendly instructions on how to combine it with ours.
Its growth is amazing.
The decision was made to terminate the experiment.
He's breaking out!
She escaped. We have a serious emergency on our hands. I want a team to track her. Hunt her down.
You created a monster, now you want us to kill it.
We decided to make it female so that it would be more docile and controllable.
More docile and controllable, huh? I guess you guys don't get out much.
She wants to have a baby.
She'll kill anyone that gets in her way.
I wouldn't hurt you. Yes, you would. Just don't know it yet.
She could have a dozen babies. She could lay 1,000 eggs.
Something's wrong.
She's here!
Open the damn door!
Oh, God.
Welcome to I Dig Crazy Flicks with Catbust Russ. I am your host, Catbust Russ, and welcome to the conclusion of all the audio I recorded at Indiana Comic Convention. This is a panel, another one that we kind of all went in blindly to, at least the three panelists. I had the Yeti mic out, so I was assigned moderator. The panel is 30 years of bad sci-fi movies we love. Judging that we are all volunteers, we may not have had the assignment totally figured out ahead of time. We were supposed to talk about movies like Virtuosity, Waterworld, Species, Congo, Judge Dredd, Tank Girl, Johnny Mnemonic. They all came out in 1995, and for the most part, they are all beloved by somebody. I loved most of them. But my panelists eventually decided, you know what, let's just talk about bad sci-fi movies we love. We just went with that. So my fellow panelists on this one were Madison Martin, a local Indianapolis promoter and I think cosplayer, as she stated. The audio in this one's going to be a little iffy because not everybody was loud enough, and we also got a lot of feedback from the crowd. It was probably the biggest crowd I had for any of the panels we did at Indiana Comic Con. So it's going to be a little up and down. Hopefully a little normalization will fix that. But, bear with me. It's going to be a great conversation because my other panelist was Lynette Eklund, a professional monster maker. She's done work on two of the movies that were listed on this panel description, Tank Girl and Species. She works pretty much all the time and about for anybody because she also works for Full Moon Feature, so it's fun chatting with her about movies like Puppet Master and Ghoulies. So with that said, this is just us talking about science fiction movies, horror movies, and getting to some philosophical arguments about how some would think it's just about the monsters and, leave the subtext out of it. George Romero is just overcomplicating things, in other words. Same thing with Carpenter. No, just give us a monster, let it chase us down, and go from there. So, just scare us is Lynette's argument, while I get poked around as being the film critic. I like the dichotomy there. So let's get on to this podcast, but first, let's get on to the formalities. First off, if you want to be on I Dig Crazy Flicks, all you have to do is offer me a film, a director, an actor, a theme. Just send an email to rustthebus07@gmail.com, and as long as the movie is bonkers, I'll be happy to talk about it. But if it's not bonkers, hey, we can play by 90 for chill rules. So if you got a nice little rom-com, which I do need to catch up on after all my experiences with my trivia team, as long as it's between 70 and 100 minutes, I'll be happy to chat about it. So again, my email is rusthebus07@gmail.com, RUSSTHEBUS07@gmail.com. Or you can hit me up on my social medias. I'm primarily on Blue Sky @CatBusRuss. And that's also my handle, though, on Threads and Instagram. The other way to support the show, if you're too shy to get on the mic, is you can be a Patreon subscriber. Patreon.com/IDigCrazyFlicks. And all I'm asking for right now is $3 a month. Those $3 will get you a logo sticker that's waterproof. I put it on all my mugs at my day jobs, and they still haven't washed off. And you get to access the original Podbean feed as I go and issue those episodes. So a little more raw audio, just me learning how to do this, and maybe you can learn from that. Join the voyage there. And more importantly, though, you get a shout out on every podcast as long as you're subscribed. So with that said, thank you for all your help, Tim Bates. He's been on the show. He's been on the Arena episode and the Night of the Demon episodes, both in this feed. My good friend from Bloomington, Illinois, Jennifer Luckman, has just helped me out by becoming a subscriber. And former AAW backstage interviewer, The Scoop Staley. It's good to see my wrestling compadres have followed me. The $3, it helps a lot. Or at least it helps Ava the Queen Kitty. Right now, 9 tins of cat food. That might feed her for half a month. So thanks again, Scoop, Jen, and Tim. The only other people I have to thank are Station Marie Harden. Thanks for keeping an eye on me, keeping me out of too much trouble. Only the good kind of trouble, I suppose. And I hope you're doing the same for everybody you've touched in your life. And I hope you're squeezing the ectoplasm out of Skimbleshanks, the one-eared angel. He's so cuddly. How could you not? Let's get on to 30 years of bad sci-fi movies. And thanks for coming to I Dig Crazy Flicks.
Little Hand says it's time to rock and roll. Bring the noise.
Alright, it is 2 after 7. I think it's as good enough a time to start this panel dedicated to 30 years of bad sci-fi movies that we love. I am Russ Stevens. I host a podcast called I Dig Crazy Flicks. Always looking for guests. My socials are @CatBusRuss on Instagram and Blue Sky. So, you got a crazy movie you want to chat about? Hit me up. I tend to focus on movies between 70 and 100 minutes if you don't have something that crazy. But I am very flexible, and I will let the other two panelists introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Lynette Eklund, and I'm a monster maker for films, and so chances are you're going to be attacking some of the films that I worked on, so attack with love.
Hello, I'm Madison. I do not work on crew films or make monsters, but I am a local promoter, and I do off-camera work for some businesses, and we do commercial work. And in our network of things, in the local field of things, we kind of do cosplay, and we dream of the things that maybe these two have a better professional background in. So I'm just happy to be here.
Well, I'm just considered a film expert according to my junior college, so we'll see how that goes. So we're going to be, let's see. Oh, all right, this is easy enough now that I read the description. 1995 saw the release of Waterworld, Johnny Mnemonic, Virtuosity, Tank Girl, Judge Dredd, Species, Congo, and more. And I'm immediately saying there are actually one movie you can say is not so bad it's good. I think that's Species, but I digress. Some of them were terrible. I'm saying that I think that's undeniably a good movie. Is Species?
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah.
And the Geiger's type work. So you worked on it?
I did, actually. I built the suit, and then and I went to
Yeah.
and then to top it off, Dana Gee was the main suit performer who I was there to dress. And there was a few times that she wasn't available. I ended up wearing the suit for several scenes, and then as it turned out for the photo shoot, I wore the suit for the photos. So the green fetal position still that's on the box set and stuff. That is me in this on this.
That is bloody awesome. This is cool. That's a cooler story than the time I did a podcast in New Orleans with William Sadler's Death from Bill and Ted Face the Music stand-in. So
I hope that we kind of spread this and do the whole like 80s, 90s because there's a lot of there's a lot of bad stuff.
Well, I mean it's the HBO era, the Showtime era, Cinemax. I mean. Half the time I didn't see these.
And that's when VHS really turned us loose.
Oh yeah, no, I was on the 1985 movies panel last night. So yeah, of course, just reading the rest of this. Some of them were terrible. Some of them were even worse than that. 95 I thought was a pretty solid year, even if for the bad stuff.
It's definitely when we saw some love-hate relationship with practical effects and CGI.
No, that was the birth of it. That explains Congo.
Yeah, well,
I like Congo.
I know a lot of people like Congo, and I'm just saying that, to quote Dr. Ian Malcolm, I heard it already, but you were so concerned about whether you could do it, you did not ask if you should. So.
But the thing is, a bad movie can have a good story, and so the forgiveness of what you're seeing that's bad. I mean, one of my favorite movies, and it's not of that era, is I'm Married to Monsters from Outer Space, which is this old black and white thing. And it is corny as all get out, but the story is great. I am dying for somebody to remake that movie because the script is good.
Well, there's
like a lot of these movies.
Just be careful what we ask for.
Yes. Well, I mean, take John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yes.
I mean, it was The Thing from Another World originally, and that is probably probably Carpenter's best movie. I mean, I think he loves Big Trouble in Little China a little more, but
which I don't understand why. I'm sorry, I'm not a fan of it.
What? Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, come on. But the thing is...
Yes, no, I mean, it's his...
far better in the practical effects.
Oh, right, again. And, but you say the thing about, a bad movie. Like, I'm pretty forgivable of The Thing 2011. Like, the CGI effects are what killed it. Yes. But I think you had clever enough twists with how they're trying to discover the monster. I don't know, maybe I just have a thing for Mary Elizabeth Winstead. So there's that. But 95 in particular though, like I read those movies and no, I can't hate any of them.
What's your thought of Tank Girls?
Oh.
Tank Girl.
Yeah.
Love it. Anyone want to fight?
Thumbs up, thumbs down. See, I mean, this film really kind of does this. Nobody is here.
There's Easter eggs in it where it's like you can't believe certain people are in that movie.
Oh,
it's a fun movie.
Yeah.
It can't be. It's I don't know. I've heard this term interchangeably. It's what you would call a popcorn movie. It's like it's not taken seriously, but they spent serious money on it.
Yeah.
There's names in it that you don't know it by looking at them, but for the effects and the.
I can't say I've seen a bad movie with Malcolm McDowell as the villain.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so I'll cheat. It was a loaded question because I worked on that one too. So, and I'll tell you, it's very interesting because the comic strip stuff that was in there, a lot of that has to do with the fact that they didn't get everything shot. So you basically have to listen to the fight scene because the fight scene didn't get finished. So it was like save the movie. So, I got very frustrated because I was watching them talk and listening to them fight. It's like, come on. But it was an interesting one to work on. it was a rough schedule because we were shooting in Arizona and it was over 100 degrees every day. It broke the record for most days over 100. It was 104 was the coolest day that we had in 7.5 weeks. And we had all these guys in rubber suits.
Oh no!
So it was like, it was just a tough schedule. So naturally, they did not manage to get everything shot. So, that movie frustrated me because it was a really good script that ended up having to be compromised, I felt, some in the end.
Well, and that could go over to another movie that was shown up on that description. I would say Tank Girl, it's just suffered from the fact that you can, 1990s, they didn't know how to make comic book movies, really. They weren't going to be true to the source material. I mean, Tim Burton's Batman, I love it. I love Batman Returns.
Yes.
But...
And then after that?
But they are not comic book movies. That's Tim Burton's gothic movies. And Tank Girl suffered the same way. I've read a few of the issues. As you say, I got my Tank Girl tattoo, given the bugger off sign, so I can do it in stereo now. And that would go to another movie that's listed in that description. And I'm kind of forgiving because I was a young kid, 15. My mom couldn't make my dad go see the movie, but she needed to see Armand Assante try to kick Stallone's butt. So, and we all know that is not Dredd.
But it's Batman is almost more of the old Adam West Batman. Even some of the plots are almost the same.
Yeah. I'll give you the plot lines. I think it's way like Adam West. I think probably read the script and said, "No, I'm not going to be the dad, Thomas Wayne." I think was the story I've been hearing back all the way 35 years ago.
I heard that he when they announced the movie, I was in Chicago and when they were talking about it, they said that he was offered a part and that he actually cried because he couldn't be Batman.
I've heard that one too. That's why I try to just soften it with the Thomas Wayne.
Yeah, I was like, I loved you as your Batman, but this is.
Yeah, I mean, with Judge Dredd though, Giant Freaking Robot on YouTube did a great video about how it ends up failing, not because it doesn't respect the source material, it doesn't commit to the satire completely.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't help but love the opening sequence, I think, where he's getting to his lawgiver out and calling out demands. I mean, makes no logical sense, but it's just, it brings me back to, Rambo First Blood, Part 2, Commando. Yes, we're just going to do silly stuff. Like, how many people notice that a claymore does not work that way in Commando? So, but I mean, it was a fun year. I still had fun. I mean, I was 15. I go back and watch Judge Dredd and know how wrong it was, and Rob Schneider just if he's not doing the making copies guy, I'm out. But
one thing I appreciated back in that era, and it's like the whole stretch of the couple of decades, is at least they were looking for new source material.
Yes.
Now, not some things were sequelized and stuff, but not everything was. You actually dared to experiment. And like I said, with VHS coming out, you had, let's face it, Full Moon is royal. And it's like, those are definitely the bad goods.
Yes.
It's like that's royalty there, and that survived on them sequelizing, but it was their own creations. They were not just, nowadays everything, the producers are so afraid to do anything that they don't think they're guaranteed to make this kind of bank on, that they won't take a new title. It has to be source material, it has to be sequel, it has to be a remake. Whereas back then, they dared to play. Yeah. And it's like, I will take a movie that has some corn to it if it's going to be a new story.
In the back.
Did you like the puppets on Puppet Master? You brought up Full Moon?
I loved them.
I love them.
I feel like they're still iconic. I know they probably don't move like the stuff you build now.
No, well, I worked on those too. That's just it. At the same time that I'm working on like the A-list films, I'm working on that stuff too. I wanted to play in all of it, and so it's like, no, I have as much love for the Puppet Master ones. I made the outfits for Torch and for Six Shooter, and I ended up doubling one of the characters and being killed in Demonic Toys, and so it's like, and I made the Ghoulies 2 monster, so it's like, my very first monster suit I ever made was Ghoulies 2, and it's like, I'm sorry, it's a big rubber suit, but they didn't tell me they were going to blow it up, so I didn't make it fall apart, so they blew it up twice and finally had to rotoscope the explosion over it. But that's kind of the thing, is that was literally the first monster suit that I ever built for a film, and I didn't quite know what I was doing. And so a friend of mine was running John Biegler's shop at the time, because he was over in Rome shooting already, and I'm like, they're asking me to build it. I'm like, I really don't quite know how. And he's like, that's okay, I'll teach him. And so he'd come in, he'd give me a step. Now it's hotter than Hades, so he'd give me a step to, okay, here's how you're gonna, here's the artwork, here's the thing, go. And he went off into the air conditioning and started painting. I don't blame him. I would have sat in the air conditioning too if I could have, because the shop was so hot. But I was actually just kind of like given tips to be taught how to build a monster suit, and I'd build a monster suit. Nowadays, nobody would do that for a film. Nobody's going to dare that kind of thing. But back then, you did, and look what we got. We got stuff that people are talking about 40 years later, you know, and it's still loved.
6 years amazing.
That's a lot of sleeves to put in dog clothes, let me tell you.
Right, tie-dye in the back. No, I'm sorry. I don't have 20/20.
I mean, for original and 80s and nothing else like it, Cull. The original Cull, where you had the glaive.
Kroll. Yeah, I was gonna say, yes. I'm not gonna speak well of Kevin Sorbo, so.
Kroll. Nothing really.
I love the rainbow effect. I mean I really only watched that movie at a Riff Tracks Live. I mean, Liam Neeson, Robbie Coltrane, like just noticing all these people, and yeah, the effects are silly, but that is definitely my era. I mean, I've told the story many times. Like, I was a Star Wars kid, and my mom denounced it yesterday when I talked to her after. Oh, how'd the show go? Oh, right. She introduced me to Tron. No, that was your dad. Had to be your dad. And I'm just saying, no, you just didn't want me to watch Star Wars, so you put on Flash Gordon and like stuff that with actors you like in it. And yeah, you know, 2 years.
Broadened your horizon.
Yes. Oh no, I'm quite the Anglophile now. So, 2 years old, my mom would go, Flash.
Yeah. And you had to answer with, yes.
Yeah. So, but for me, when it comes to full moon, like I just ignored this stuff. One, for the longest time, and my parents obeyed the MPAA. And so I was saying in the 85, like, they were talking about these movies in formative years, and like, yeah, my mom didn't let me watch that stuff, so I'm socially neutered. And I came to horror eventually because I saw a documentary on IFC when I was 21 about Argento, and then I was trying to write scripts, and then I saw a B movie night at the local independent theater in Peoria, Illinois. And they said they had Brain Dead. And it's like, well, that's Peter Jackson. I'm going to see that. No, that was Kevin Tenney. Which I still love the movie, and I love the no budget style filming. So I dropped all my, scripts, and it's like, I'm going to write myself a no budget movie, and surely my friends will help me out with that. Now I'm podcasting, so. But no, I absolutely love that Charles Band stuff. I'm a defender for Evil Bong. I know a lot of people say, well, now that's where it jumps the shark, but...
You see, that's the thing is, they told stories. They told the stories for $1.98, but you still enjoyed the story.
They also gave some of our favorite cult classic icons their start.
Behind the camera and in front of the camera, they are responsible for the start of so many careers, like in actors, in directors, in makeup effects artists. It's like that's where you went to cut your teeth. And so a lot of people, even once they got out into the bigger movies, we'd still go back and play with that because that was like home ground. That was like, when you worked on those movies, you were visiting with buddies. It was such a fraternity house, reunion type of a thing with so many of those because it was the place to cut your teeth and learn and then grow. But none of us were like ashamed to have been working on those films because they were fun. It was a fun time to be on those things. So it's like, films nowadays are so technical, it kind of takes some of the fun out of it. I like the good old rubber monster,
Perhaps it's the indie boom brought in by Linklater and Tarantino where, yeah, granted, Pulp Fiction is not an indie movie. You don't get an $8 million budget on an indie movie. But Reservoir Dogs, on the other hand, basically they saw that, these great directors who aren't going to film school for the most part, or 50-50, are doing great stuff. We can just use these people, and that's how, Marvel's worst movie, The Eternals, I have not watched it, I'm still catching up on it. As I say, I do a podcast about movies that was originally based around 70 to 100 minutes, so no, I didn't have time for The Eternals. But, you had Best Director Chloe Zhao direct The Eternals, and she won it for No Man's Land. And, that's a no-budget movie. And then you give her that money, and it's like, you're giving her money so Kevin Feige can go and make the decisions and have a prestigious name. So I think that's the big problem, is that the indie, you prove yourself, and then Disney, Warner Brothers, they're going to pick you up, and you're in the studio system again.
And that's what I was talking about now, is because of so much of the creativity, I think, is being corralled into formulaic profit. And so it's like back in the days when people would dare to try new material, with or without the budget. If they had a vision and they had an idea for a story, it's like, okay, I've got $5,000, I can do this, or I've got $20,000, I can do that, or I've got $2 million, I can do that. Now I have $500 million, so I will try to do that. And it's like...
Now, Steven Soderbergh's doing the best stuff right now, trying to make movies with iPhones, it seems. Nobody's really spoken, nobody's seen his movies since he started doing the iPhone stuff, but nobody's said anything bad about them, from everything I've gathered critically.
So, okay, people, remakes. The Blob.
That is my blob. Sorry, Steve McQueen.
You're a new Blob?
They're making a new...
No.
But no, 88.
Yeah, 88's Blob.
Yeah, Sherilyn Fenn... Shawnee Smith. Yeah, Kevin Dillon.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was pure... you used the term popcorn movie, but you can't take that... You can't take the movie serious at all.
Not a bad thing. Not at all. It's not bad thing.
But, I loved what they did with it. I love... And I love all the Cold War sci-fi we had. Because the Blob remake's about a germ warfare weapon that ends up on our turf, and we got to try. The government wants to clean it up, and I say clean up, I mean cover up. So
I feel like that started becoming a thing in the 80s. I've only heard it mentioned with different people, not just in sci-fi, but also horror, where they tried to get back to the days of the villains or the antagonists being, Soviets, Eastern European, imperialistic, with RoboCop, or it got away from, with the 70s, you had Scorsese doing his magic on the streets, where it was very civil crime, very small-time crime.
Well, Godfather.
Melodramatic, kind of thing. But then towards the 80s, it's been said that if they try to get back to the common theme of, okay, the government is the bad guy. And that's why you also saw a lot of it being very militant, like you always had the big CEO or the big someone that had his hands in something military.
I think a lot more of capitalism and as a response to Reagan. I mean, you look at 87, you had RoboCop. 88, you had They Live.
Yeah, so it was very much like, what I'm saying is it got away from, we'll just take, for example, what was a subversive kind of tone in some of your movies where it was very classist, you know, you had the different classes going after each other, and all things, you know, else that could be political, but we started seeing it get more towards the bad guy being the man, so to speak.
Yeah, they started trying to get a little, because back before that too, you just had, there was the good guys and the bad guys. You had the monster and the hero. You had, you know, so they started deepening the storylines, I guess.
Well, you look at 60s James Bond, the enemy was Spectre and Blofeld. So Sean Connery didn't have to deal with the communists that always were flirting with...
you had a specific villain.
Yes.
Here he is. It's not an entity, it's a villain.
Right. So, and it was always the capitalist, though, in the 70s Bond movies. Like, oh no, I'm just here to make money. I'm setting the Russians and but the Russians are always a little bit nastier. It goes back to Godzilla, the Return of Godzilla in 1984, and then they released it in the States in 1985 as Godzilla 85. And the Japanese are very good about criticizing everybody. Like, so much of their sci-fi is about, man, did the Americans screw us, which essentially is Godzilla, nuclear testing. And so when Roger Corman got the film, the guys who backed him said, no, we have to take out any concept that the Russians are good in Godzilla 85. So no, they intentionally tried to nuke Godzilla instead of a long setup for an accident to occur. Thankfully, you can still find the Dr. Pepper commercials, I think, on YouTube for Godzilla 85, but Toho has basically said, no, we're not going to let the entire feature get released. So good luck finding a VHS tape somewhere.
So I'll just bore you guys for just a quick second. At our venue, we actually do some 35mm films when we show them at a drive-in, but we also have different guests come in and directors and other people that work on film. And about a year ago, we showed, or I don't know, it was maybe 2 years ago. It was whenever the big Godzilla franchise came out with another thing. So a year ago, 2 years ago.
Godzilla minus one, perhaps?
Whatever the kids say, yeah. But when we go late at night, so some of the features are we play some of the older films, and we actually were able to find the old print before it was dubbed. And it's a whole other film when you watch it. And it really is about, like, it's a whole other film, like what you were saying. They were like, take away anything that makes, Americans or anybody look bad. But it's like, it's made from their perspective.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just, it's interesting where it's like, I can actually probably find you.
And see, between these two and all their analysis, that's why I like monsters. Because it's like,
they're my favorite.
I mean, let's go to like Lost World. Let's go to Near Dark.
Oh,
Absolutely. So we're talking about just good old. Here's the monsters. Here's the challenge. Let's just leave it there. Does everything have to analyze the world? And does everything have to have a political statement? Let's just have fun and deal with our monsters.
Yes.
So,
well, the problem though is horror. Well, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say there's a problem because you explained it. Like, let's just have fun with monsters. I think a lot of the people just come up, like the creative minds, like George Romero. Every zombie movie he did had an underlying message. Consumerism with Dawn of the Dead, racism with Night of the Living Dead, and just general paranoia with Day of the Dead. Land of the Dead, that's class system. Diary of the Dead. Survival of the Dead, can't figure that one out.
The general paranoia still plays into just the classic relatable stuff. I mean, we're talking about I think that the films, like I said, when we're talking about the bad movies that are good, it's because we can relate to it. It's not somebody lecturing at us. It's not somebody trying to make their own political statements or something. It's human relation. It is paranoia. It is fear. It is survival. It is things that we relate to and that we live through. So when you're watching stuff, you can imagine, what would I do? What would I be? Now, one thing is for 14 years I ran a haunted corn maze. I mean, if you own a cornfield, you build monsters, you haunt a maze. And you know how in all those movies, you always have that one person who stands there and screams and does not move, and the monster walks right up onto him and just like this and knocks him out. Or they run and they fall down every 3 steps, so even the mummy that's walking slower than a snail can catch them and kill them.
Dagger the Dead has a great scene about that.
The thing is, running a haunted corn maze, I can tell you those people exist. You will, if you scare somebody, that's what I warned my ghouls. It was like the lecture that they got before we opened each season. It's like, some people will scream, some people will cry, some people are gonna jump, some people are gonna run, some people are gonna freeze, and some people are gonna take a swing at you. And if it lands, it's your fault because you were moving too slow. But my point is, it's like, you get to the point where when you're watching these movies, it's what would I do? What would I be? And you'd be surprised at what would really be. But when you're looking at these monster movies, the reason I believe they work is because you can walk in their shoes. And so it's like, I'm probably not going to ever be in a situation where I'm going to be fighting the government over a nuclear thing. But the chances of me encountering a vampire in my woods is pretty good, right? So it's like, I think that's why B movies and the bad monster movies and stuff, because that's what we can relate to.
Well, and as a guy, and transition here back to the original premise, Species. Like, I'm sorry, I am having a hole blown through the back of my head if Natasha Henstridge is on me. So, and then I guess it's a rewatch thing when it comes a lot of the time for the, or it's the analytical side of it. Like, when it comes to B movies, and I can't remember the name off the top of my head. He's currently one half of Full Moon. He's here at the con.
Chris Alexander is the table next to mine.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. And he was bringing up the one of my favorite So Bad It's Good movie, Life Force. I brought it up at his panel yesterday, and he basically said, well, the thing, my guide was the Leonard Maltin video guide, and he read the review for Life Force, and it's a 4 out of 10 from Leonard Maltin, and that's the first critic I was really familiar with as well, but you could tell in the text that Leonard Maltin liked the movie, but being the analytical person that he has to be to issue a review and rate it on its artistic merit, dare I say.
Yeah, there's a big difference between analyzing a film and breaking it down into its parts and what you actually enjoy.
Yes, exactly. And that's, as I say, that's a big thing. And, I think Ryan, when he brought up this panel and 3 strangers came up to do it, brings me to, movies like, Species, obviously, Waterworld, that's an environmental stuff, but how can you not love Crazy Dennis Hopper in anything?
But why is it that the whole world has been covered with water to the point where people are growing webs in their toes and fingers, and yet there are still dry cigarettes? For the life of me, I cannot figure out where those smokers are coming up with all this tobacco, because those guys were nicotine addicts and went through the supply ages ago, and yet they still have an unending supply of cigarettes.
Well, I mean, it's same director as Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and same overbearing Kevin Costner. So, I'm just saying, Kevin Costner missed a lot of points if he can't do a British accent when everybody else is.
The thing is, when you're watching Waterworld, do you care that the logic of a cigarette can't possibly? You don't care because it's still fun. So who cares? I mean, when you're later breaking it down into its analysis. You can punch the holes here and punch the holes there. But when you're watching it, did you like it? There you go.
Oh, well, and going back to 95.
So, yeah, but you're like you're an analysis person. We're just going for monsters, people.
Well, but when I'm just going off the description, they brought up virtuosity, and that is a hell of a monster in a sense. The Russell Crowe is the ultimate serial killer, and trying to figure out a way to kill him. Politically wise, you always got the capitalism element, the prison industrial complex bollocks. But in the end, though, it is the classic: how do you kill something that's not living? And you can't help but have fun with that movie. I think over that, crazy effects, or. It was a poor introduction to the UFC at one point, as Russell Crowe is trying to call out every fighter who somehow are just going in a melee instead of one-on-one combat. This is when it comes to, you could be overly analytical like myself, but then you just have to accept. As I say, I was trying to write a pro wrestling zombie movie. Sometimes you just have to do suspension of disbelief.
Exactly.
And this is about the enjoyment, and I think that's your point.
It's like, okay, do we really believe that Chucky is going to come to life and kill us?
I was almost Andy for that movie. So
you leave the reality at the door and you go in and you watch it. It's not everything has to be.
It goes.
You can make it real in your mind. When you were a child, that shadow was real. There's a part of us that wants to go back to that, and that's what these B movies give us. Is they give us our childhood nightmares.
Oh no, I didn't get over Gremlins till I was 36, and if it wasn't for trying to impress my girlfriend, I don't know if I would have still done it.
Gotten over it?
Yeah, gotten over it. There's still my nightmares. Like how like. I spill water on this guy and I'm triply screwed. Like,
now that's Furbies that did that to you.
Those things you
Yeah, Furbies was in real time. You can't just say, no, it's a movie. It's right there.
That added another decade onto it, I think. But yeah, I think 95 was just such an as you're saying, like, we're going for new content. Nobody's taking these $200 million gambles. Like, I love the new Mad Max movies, but I appreciate art, but George Miller does not need $200 million to make these movies.
I mean, Alien. When you think about like the Alien series and the Predator and these kind of movies, they weren't going for. That wasn't hundreds of millions of dollars to make those movies, and they still hold up today. Some of the stuff now, I don't think is going to hold up as well as some of that stuff does, because back then you played with the shadows, you kept things a little bit darker. There's nothing scarier than your own imagination. So if you show too much, I think it loses some of its magic. And back with the B movies and stuff, they took advantage of darkness, of shadows, of abrupt quick cuts, of all that kind of stuff, and your mind filled in so much more than what they showed you. And so whatever's scary to you is what you saw. Whereas if they show you all of it 100% with high core effects, then if that doesn't scare you, there's no way to get scared. Mm-hmm. The power of suggestion will make it much scarier because your own mind will fill in what's scary.
You gotta hide that zipper.
Exactly. And so back then, what's that? Alien. What's that?
Hitchcock was brilliant.
Oh no, it really wish we didn't have the Hays. Well, I don't know. I think the Hays Code helped Hitchcock, at least in terms of suspense. I don't hear many people rave about his R-rated stuff before he died in 80.
No, but too, just the thing, he's the one that taught how to do stuff without explaining it. Yes. The birds, why did they do that? he never bothers to explain that. They just did and they left. And that's what's really creepy is because then it's like, oh my gosh, that could happen again.
So are you saying that Birdemic is an unwatchable movie because they tried to explain why the birds were trying to attack?
I haven't seen that one, but it's just I'm just saying it's like we don't always have to know. Everything doesn't have to be explained to us. Sometimes leaving that is like, not, why is it that no matter, if you have 5 people in a room, one of them just happens to be a scientist that can understand the logic of why this thing is happening today? Why can't they all be the bunch of us sitting at McDonald's? It's like, I don't know.
Well, the scientist gimmick, like, whenever I see that, and it goes back to the thing, the guy who figures it out is the one guy I am not trusting. Like, Wilford Brimley? No. I will never, unless he's Uncle DeVay in Hard Target, I don't trust the guy. And I think the firm proved that I digress.
But with Halloween's, Friday the 13th.
Oh, no. The moment they tried giving Michael Myers motivation.
Justification. It's like, in the first movies, why are they like that? Don't know, don't care, don't want anything to do with it. That's all. It's back to what you're scared of, and that guy could come through your door. So it's like, you're flicking the light on before you step in the room after you go home to that movie. It's like, I got beat to death with my sister. She came home from the movies, it's bedtime, and we always had the deal, I could only trust her twice. There's 2 things we could trust, and one of them was when it was time to shut off the light, we had to share a bed, and she'd come home from that movie, and the object was, when you shut off the light, it was step, step, jump, and you could land in the middle of the bed, and the rule was the other one had to stay out of the way and allow them a clean landing so that they couldn't get hit by the monsters on the bed. When she came home from that movie, step, step, jump, she lands in the bed, she lays down, and I hadn't seen the movie, but she made the mistake of telling me a little bit about it. So in the dark, right after she lands from jumping over the monster under the bed, I go, I about got beat to death. So it's like, I'm telling you, dark and no explanation is so much scarier than scientific explanations, political statements that are trying to show us what all happened. It's like, just leave me in the dark and I will be scared enough.
Well, that's probably the biggest problem with 95 is that so much of this stuff had to be explained. Virtuosity, Johnny Mnemonic. Like, that is a laughable movie just because of how far we've gone since 1995. Like, what is it? He gets a hard drive in his skull for 526 megabytes. I will say this Apple this Apple computer, I don't like it. It's only got 256 gig, but
the thing is, back then, what was the home computer? 386.
Oh no, it's
286 at that point. It was, if there was.
I think I had my first 486 at 33 megs.
But 95, you're talking if you had a computer, it was going to be a 286 at that point. So.
No. It's a 94 was the first computer I got, and that was a 486, but it was only 33 megahertz. Then you had different little variables. It's not as awesome now, but then for that movie, you're just on the adventure. How the hell is he going to get this out of his head? You can forget about the fact that that's in this future, that's not going to be a problem, I think. And you cast, in that movie, you just cast great that guy actors, dare I say. I mean, they're beyond, at that point, Udo Kerr, one of my favorite. All right, good.
Oh no, he's precious. For those in the back playing the home game, that's the guy that gets his fangs ripped out in Blade 1.
You see, I'm all the way back to Suspiria with him.
Oh yes, he also played one of the best Draculas in Blood for Dracula.
Oh yes, Andy Warhol, right?
Yeah.
And I like Dracula. You want a bad movie? Dracula 3000. I love it.
So there's the door.
Oh.
Oh my word.
So Dracula 3000 too much. Dracula 2000, is that all right?
No.
Or is it? Are we just a Dracula defender here?
I like traditional Dracula. It's like,
Well, you know, the next one's gonna be Dracula in space.
Dracula 3000 was in space.
yeah, see, that kind of stuff hurts me. That hurts my soul. You know?
But see, that's when we get the backlash when I'm like, why don't you just enjoy it? Because he can't survive in space. He needs the Earth from his homeland. That's why.
Well, there's too many things. There's too many things.
That's just
So it's like if you want to put a vampire in space, I'm all for it, but it can't be Dracula.
All right, no, I can agree on that.
Yeah.
Well, what about so I find that I love anytime a horror franchise goes to space.
Why?
Jason X, yes, right there. Hellraiser 4 ends up in space with the space station being the configuration box.
Sharknado.
It got there.
Leprechaun.
Leprechaun in space. Oh, yeah, no. Leprechaun comes back to life as a venereal disease. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it might be I haven't watched it, but it might be absolute dog shit. But I am going. It's in my queue. Like, I got to see that one way or another. And I've just watched a lot of YouTube videos, reviews, and like, no, I still need to see how you're gonna do it.
We watch with buddies, and if you drink, do some drinking.
Okay, share some love. Where's your movies?
For whatever reason, I love The Arrival with Charlie Sheen.
It's online. It's online. Like it was
3 times in the theater.
all right. No, that's a stamp of approval to me. That was a weird Charlie. That was a weird Charlie Sheen. That was like before, just as he fell from grace, without all the tiger blood. Any other?
How about this movie that few people have heard of called The Hidden?
Kyle MacLachlan and Michael Parry?
Yeah, Michael Parry. It was to take on Faith Alien.
Oh, I am surprised it hasn't been screwed over yet with a remake, because I know I can't buy it for less. And that's ridiculous. I should spend the Thank you. I'm going to spend the $8 on iTunes to get that in my collection. No, I've only seen like the last half of it, and it's like the entire idea of like an alien jumping bodies, a shootout with a stripper. Like, yes, Kyle MacLachlan acting as wooden as he did in Blue Velvet, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Show of hands.
I've got one. I don't know if you guys would consider this like so bad it's good, because I know people that say it's horrible. But Iron Sky 1 and 2, those were, I don't know if you ever.
Well, you got Udo Kerr in Iron Sky 1, so there we go. I haven't watched the second one, but
If that one is, if you think about how ridiculous the first one, the premise of.
well, Sarah Palin is president. Like,
Yeah, if you think about that, how ridiculous that was in the first one. The second one, Earth has gone to crap, and they have to live on the moon.
well, I think that was were the Nazis trying to get back to Earth in the first one?
No, they have to actually involve the hollow Earth theory and how aliens have uplifted humanity and given us from monkeys, that transition from monkeys to humans. And all major political and religious figures throughout history are aliens, and when they die, they go back to Middle Earth or Center Earth. And Hitler is involved still, and Steve Jobs.
Oh wow! Wow.
I work two day jobs: liquor store and electronics store. So.
Liquor store would be the best place to watch that.
Yeah, it's a pretty corporate one, but I'm just saying I only have so much money to spend.
Yeah.
Ty.
Have you seen 1953, The Maze?
No, that's the first time I've ever heard of The Maze.
It's in 3D.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend that because it starts off being one of those that's like scary because it doesn't show you what's going on. But the ending, I know like people can make me disappointed, but I like it.
Well, there's a lot of movies that they feel like they have to put that finale shot on there and finally give it to you. And it's like, you know what, sometimes leave the finale shot off of it. You want to go big time, go to Close Encounters.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
it was so much better where they stopped it before
For
they
the
went into
aliens,
spaceship.
yeah.
We did not need that big reveal. It was better just to leave us with our own imaginations.
and it was that, like, yeah, I definitely don't care for the Close Encounters second cut, just because, like, it was a time of reissues. Like, E.T., they did not remove the guns until, the 2000s. It was released at least 2 or 3 more times, and that's a time I missed where we got national rep theaters, essentially, where, like, I looked forward to, I loved Oliver and Company. I'm a cat guy. Hence the Cat Bus Russ. I can't wait till 1995 when Disney puts it back out in theaters.
Yeah, they would rotate the stock.
So, all right, so the maze. Anybody else? Good, bad?
I mean, bad news, like,
Evil Dead 2 is a classic. That is I think even the critics agree on that one. Army of Darkness, you have an argument for, but I love Army of Darkness. Yes, sir.
My wife will tell you that Starship Troopers is the worst movie she ever.
Starship Troopers is like everything else that Paul Verhoeven did in the United States. It is excellent satire. Granted, I was a stupid teenager when that came out, so I was kind of gung-ho. Yeah, citizenship for if you serve. No, it's you once you watch it a second time, you realize meat for the grinder. You're like, no, this is total satire. And I'm going to be at C2E2. I'm not going to have a panel, sadly. But they're going to have the Michael Ironside, Denise Richards, Casper Van Dien, Dina Myers. Maybe they have Jake freaking Busey there. So I can't wait for that. Kind of glad I don't have that responsibility, I suppose.
See, I like
Hauser in command is great.
I'm sorry.
Doogie Howser in command.
Oh, I am sorry to even drop the ball in mentioning NPH. Oh my gosh, they actually have an 8 o'clock? Okay, so, all right. I will give ICC credit. They pack a punch. This is my first Indiana Comic-Con. I'm out of Champaign, Illinois, so let's, I guess we gotta wrap her up. I will say Congo Defenders, Tim Curry, Ernie Hudson, I don't know how you can hate it.
I say stop by my table and we can talk more monsters. So I'm right at the entrance to the eye doors at Artist Alley. You'll see me there with Teddy Ruxpin and Madeline Ball and all kinds of pictures and stuff because it was like we just brushed over the block, but I worked on it too. So.
Oh, you are a goddess. There we go.
I had slime-soaked hair that I could just like squeeze the slime out to my brain by the time each day of work was over, and I had a ball.
Did you do anything on the Critter movie?
I did not.
That was
the first 3. The fourth one was horrible.
That was New Line. Not. Because I had a conversation recently. Like, Critters and Ghoulies, Critters and Troll, same thing. No. Full Moon and New Line. So, Madison, anywhere you're going to be?
Next weekend I'm going to be in Cincinnati for the Horror Convention, and then beyond that we're just going to be working in the studio. You can find me on TransylvanianLipTreatment.com. That's my cast's website. Just saying, you want to plug your stuff too?
Yeah, well, no. I'm doing. I am going to have a live recording of I Dig Crazy Flicks tomorrow, 4 p.m. And I have other ways of pitching it, but I want to come back to ICC. Thank you guys very much. So I will shut my mouth with my wits. I think.
This is my first time here, and I'm loving it.
Oh no, this is like
great.
Yes. So.
This is my first time being a panelist. I've performed here, but I've never sat on one of these things.
All right, you guys have all been great. What the hell is a Hoosier? I will have to ask that before I leave.
It's technically a piece of furniture, but whatever.
All right, well.
All right.
Thank you very much. Have a great night.
Can I hear a wahoo?